Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And I'm Crystal Beth.
Welcome back, Crystal Beth.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah. I love it.
This has been good so far, right?
Yes, so much good.
Yeah. You're going to close out the week with us as we find out what the heck is going on with these two crazy lovebirds in the captain's cabin of the band.
Did Indy...
Whoa, wait a minute.
Oh,
we're not starting.
God.
Hang on. Save it. Jesus. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Minute 95.
What is that expression?
Do I have to bleep that? I don't even know.
I mean, they're on a boat, right?
Oh, good God Almighty in heaven. Oh, that's hilarious.
I gotta know, I'm on pins and needles.
Jerry, there's a lady on the phone. Do you mind?
I know.
She's probably frustrated, just like Marion.
We all
I am.
are.
She
All
wants
right.
to know.
I do want to know. I want to know about the O.
I will have decorum.
Did they do it?
Minute 95 begins with Marion lamenting to a sleeping Indy that they never seem to get a break. And it ends with Katanga telling Indy to go hide from the approaching Nazis. And Marion, at the very beginning of this minute, she's saying, we never seem to get a break, do we? And I want to kind of shake her and be like, you're trying to get a break from this guy? The guy who's done nothing but ditch and spurn you and jerk you around, not only for this entire movie, but for the past 10 years. You're like, oh, so somehow things aren't working out with me and Indiana Jones. That's too
Well,
bad.
you know what? It's funny because I thought the same thing. She says, we never seem to get a break, do we? And she says, we. But I get the impression that she's actually talking about herself.
Yeah, maybe. She's barking up the wrong tree if she's looking for a break from the guy who left her tied up in a tent with Belloc. Sure.
Well, and also, to be fair, with the we, you're like, Indy got a break. Remember the time that, those guys were climbing, on his truck and they were on the side and he happened to be near these coconut palm trees?
Yeah, things are working out great for Indy.
Yeah, he wasn't like that, 5 minutes prior. It was like this completely denuded cliff.
Yeah, who's we? Some of us are
Who's
getting tons
we?
of
Indy
breaks.
got a break. He got a break like just a couple of minutes ago. I guess what would be yesterday or today? I don't know.
And now he's peacefully asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting the greatest break a person can have, a pleasant nap. Gosh, is that a nice break? What if you were asleep right now? Let's just
I
think
like
about that for a
sleeping.
second. It's
Well,
really
I
good.
like Tommy. You're worried about her.
I am. I just,
yeah.
even though I've decided that she is in control. You guys have talked me into that she's going to be okay. She's going to take care, no matter what happens, she'll take care of herself. She's not going to let herself get hurt again, even though she's getting jerked around a lot. But yeah, I'm like, she deserves better.
Yeah.
Or I want Indy to be the guy that she deserves. I want him to step up, for crying out loud.
Yeah, step up, buddy.
Yeah, wake up and step up. You bum.
You know who does step up here?
Who's that, Pete?
Yahweh.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting because we were having this
Yeah.
conversation with I think it was Kevin Marr when he was on. He was asking if we thought that God was a character in this movie. And I still sort of when we see stuff like this happening, like what happens in the cargo hold, I still feel like it's the Ark and not God. Is that wrong of me? Is that blasphemous or weird or missing the point?
Isn't the Ark God in I know it's not God, but it's kind of a manifestation of him, of the power he has.
Yeah.
It's the dwelling place of God.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be?
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
Mary
like where
Poppins'
he
bag,
hangs
except
out on
God
Earth.
lives at the bottom of it.
I'm going to say that question that Kevin asked is the best question on the entire podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
Smart.
I mean, for me.
Better
Yeah,
than
for
how
me.
you pronounce Captain Stubing?
It is. It's better than how you pronounce Captain Stewart.
All right.
I mean, there's no question, because after he suggested that, I see it differently. There's no question that God is a character in the movie, and I mean they show, first of all, they show that rat, and
Yeah.
you know that there's something either unnatural or more likely supernatural is happening.
Yeah.
Happening,
Mhm.
you know, and then it's like, what's that droning, undulating noise when they show the ark? You know, just in the cargo hold, you're like, there's that whoa 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 whoa
Yeah.
whoa 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 that's going on, and you're like, is it the propellers on the ship, or you're like, no, that's actually Yahweh coming down the stairs to drop a beat down on some meddling ass hoes who don't need to, they don't leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
And I keep when I started thinking about like, oh, there's Marcus, and he's sort of, I say this like every other minute, you're like, there's Marcus, he's warning Indy tonight, and you're like, no, this is what happens. This is what happens. Like, the ark has been disturbed, and now, like, God always shows up in fire.
Yeah.
I mean, in my life, and I feel like, and I also just feel like, no, the whole, like, we were asking all those questions on the airfield. I was kind of kidding around, but you're like, yeah, the gasoline there's explosions everywhere. They don't entirely make sense.
Yeah.
And then, but here it's a burning, it's like the crate that the ark is in is burning.
The
Yeah.
crate that says property of German Reich.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah?
it's burning very specifically on, only
the
the
swastika.
stenciled,
Yeah.
on
Well,
the
that-
swastika, and the very specifically only on, the stenciled portion.
Well, that was my question, or one of my questions. I have a lot of questions about this moment. Is the ark just, or the ark or God, or which? Can I just say something? People are going to get mad at me. That's part of the reason I gave up on Catholicism when I did, like, as in college. I was like, wait, Jesus is the Son of God, and he's God, and the ark is God,
Yeah.
and the Holy Trinity is God, and what? Just reboot. Just to make it clear. Anyway,
But it's supposed to be like a don't look at it, Marion. It's
I guess so.
Yeah.
supposed to be a mystery.
Yeah,
It's
shut
a
up and fold
mystery.
your hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mystery. That's why we're talking about this thing, because you're like, oh, it's supernatural.
Right.
You
Okay,
have to
but
allow for the supernatural, or
But my question is the ark burning? Is it just like flexing its muscles and like, railing at being in a box? Or is it specifically undoing that symbol on the side of the symbol of evil and evil men and stuff?
If you look at, we started telling a story way back in like minutes, 15, 16, about how the Israelites were once carrying the ark into battle and it got stolen by the Philistines. And after they stole the ark, your God, Yahweh, kind of started going nuts and killing the Philistines. And they put the ark in a temple to their main god, this fish god named Dagon. And every night, Dagon the idol would fall down prostrate before the ark. And
Wow.
the ark started talking to the rats. Like, there were rats on ships next to the city, and God started talking to the rats, and the rats invaded the city, and everybody got tumors.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's when they finally said, "This, we've had it. We can't keep this," and they sent it back to the Israelites, which we talked about on a previous minute, on a cart with a couple of cows.
Oh my God.
Wow.
duh, what don't you get, Tommy?
I'm just saying. It's
I
like,
mean-
how does the
Didn't
ark
I
know
just-
where the writing is? That's what I want to know. No, okay. But, okay, so does that mean that, like, because I never know, like, the rats, I never know, are the rats getting hurt?
getting a message.
Or are they just being affected? Like, what's going on?
I thought when I was whenever I watch it, still when I watch it, I feel like the arc is producing a pitch, a sound that
Yeah.
is whatever is around it, whatever ear is near it is a frequency that ear can't handle, and the rat's like, "Ow, my head, ah!"
Yeah. I kind of feel that way, too.
I
They
know.
don't-
the
yeah.
ark,
The next instruction, like, he kind of cocks his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
is he
it's-
cocking his head, like, listening, or is he like, Jesus, ow, ow, ow?
Well, it's kind of the same thing when the ark's
I guess so. Hi, Jesus, what?
Hey,
Ow.
God, why are
I
you
heard you.
yelling? Just speak in a regular voice. I'm a mouse.
Well, it's clearly. I mean, it's the ark isn't happy where it is.
Right.
It's
No.
been disturbed, and that's the word that they use.
Oh, disturbed. Yeah.
Yeah, throughout the movie, it's been
Yeah.
disturbed, and it's not meant to be disturbed. And it's like, well, yeah, it's either foreshadowing, or just it's Yahweh is percolating.
Just a little bit of dad trivia here. Jer was talking about Samson and his hat a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
The temple where the ark was kind of flexing its bicep was the same temple where Samson pulled the pillars down.
Oh, get out of here.
Years
That's
later.
clear as a bell.
Really?
It's irrefutable.
Yeah, it's irrefutable.
Get back to Sunday school, Tom.
I should. Jesus, I'm missing all of this stuff.
Yeah, literally.
When they cut, I've said this, dozens of times over this this movie and this podcast, but part of the reason I love this movie above all others is that it feels so much like just a different product from the 70s. And like right now, this cut between, from the really loud cargo hold with the Ark and the burning of the thing to that super quiet shot back in their cabin with the gun reminds me it feels like I'm watching like The Exorcist or The Conversation or something.
That's a really threatening scene, though. Like, it seems really threatening where he's kind of looming over her, cocking the gun.
It is a little weird. Like she's asleep and he's secretly cocking a gun in front of her.
Well, they did it.
Well,
they did it.
Yeah, she's smiley.
That smile.
Really?
They did it.
Over that
They
smile.
did it. He's cocking his gun. They did it.
Well, wait,
Yeah,
weren't we
especially
super?
the angle of the guns being cocked, and
Exactly.
it's right over her face, and
Oh, Jesus
my
Christ.
God.
that's how it works.
Actually, you know what's interesting is going back the scene with the Ark in the cargo hold. There is sort of an inexplicable shadow that bisects the Ark diagonally.
Yes.
And what's interesting is then the very next scene, Indy's gun is in exactly the same place.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, diagonally. Like, and
Yeah.
and the shadow doesn't really make sense. You're like, well, what is that? Where is that? If the Ark's in a cargo hold, isn't it completely dark? And you know what I mean? But it's kind of an interesting little artistic minute there. And his gun is at exactly the same angle, kind of going down.
Oh, that's nice.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, if you watch it, it is interesting.
I don't
But
think
anyway,
they did
look,
it. I don't
yes,
think
they did it. They did
No.
it. They did it.
She's
Well, here-
naked. She yanks that Katanga's nightgown off of the lamp.
Have you
Yeah, and
ever
it
been
was
naked
on a
without having
lamp.
sex?
Exactly. It's strewn haphazardly.
Well, listen. Weren't we excited yesterday that they didn't have sex and that they didn't,
Yeah.
totally what's the word I'm looking for? Diffuse that tension and stuff?
Yeah, and now today we're excited that they did.
All right.
And just as a quick minute, yeah, exactly. Unless
They
it's
don't
like
harp on it. That's the big thing. Is that
That's
it's
true.
not.
Yeah.
If they did it without a cut to anything else, I think we would have lost the fun for it. But because we don't really know and we're just getting the subtle clues for it, it's a little more like they could have just like had a really hard makeout sesh. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you
Could've
know
gotten
what?
this
Let me
first or
ask
second
you.
base, maybe.
Dead
I don't know.
serious.
What?
Dead serious here. Unless we're talking about an after-school special, what hero doesn't?
The exhausted, tired, beaten, running low on mileage.
Yeah, maybe Saul is the hero of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying I agree with you, Crystal Beth. You nailed it. It's like we're glad that they didn't last night, and then we know that they did by now.
Right. And it's not like they haven't done it before.
Yeah.
At least once.
So there's
At
I mean,
least once.
is that another commandment broken?
Technically, I guess. From what I remember from Sunday school.
I mean,
So is this, if my Saul theory is wrong, is this when Mutt was conceived?
You know what?
Oh God.
I hate you for asking
God,
that
I just got
question.
sad.
Yeah, way to ruin
I
a moment.
know. I'm with you, Jerry.
I haven't even had my cigarette yet.
Why is this? Why do we need to hear mutt? What I mean, it's like, what is it? It's a. What is it? Thursday or something? Friday? I don't need a mutt. I don't need mutt.
No.
I mean, as responsible podcasters, aren't we supposed to look this up and find out like when Crystal Skull takes place and how old that douche is and then do the math and see if.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. I suppose the argument could be made that this is when mud is conceived.
Well, way
Or
to
it could've
ruin
been
that
2 nights
moment,
before.
Yeah, like no wonder Indy has a gun. He's thinking about killing himself.
right?
Yeah, they might make other movies with my son named Mud. Can't do this.
Okay, wait. I'm looking up Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I want to see when it takes place. 1957. So that's
21 years.
21 years.
Oh no!
Really? God damn it!
It could still be Sala.
It could still be Sala. Let's just say
I'm
it's Sala.
going with it's Sala.
Yeah,
I
Katanga, for God's
completely
sake.
agree. It's Sala.
Yeah.
He's fine.
We did talk a lot about Sala's tremendous fertility.
Sure, that's true.
Oh yeah.
He can't be just tied down to his one nuclear family.
Right.
Life moves on. Here's
Yeah.
the proof.
Here's the proof.
Yeah, he whips out his foghorn.
Right? Life finds a way.
It sure does.
You know what's actually really interesting though is Indy senses trouble. He says the engines have stopped. He's gonna go check it out, and they very specifically show Marion. She's smiling,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, this woman loves this. She's smiling at the first sign of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She loves
That's a
danger.
good point.
No, she's practically turned on by it.
Yeah.
She is. She's happy that there's
Yeah.
something. Yeah, because she's not that she kind of gets up and she doesn't sit back down in like a, post-coital bliss.
Yeah.
She actually like kind of gets up and peers out the window and she's like, I'm not going to let some go down without me.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
Is
woman.
Is it pronounced
Yeah.
coital?
Coital? Coital? What is it? Coital?
I think it's coital.
I mean, I feel like coital. Here, I'll say it and then you can punch it in. Coital bliss. Post-coital bliss. Wait, hang on. Let's get a clear one. Post-coital bliss.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. I see
Or
what you're
you
saying.
you can say even better that just face. I think that fits.
I'm going to need a glossary of what words I do and don't need to bleep from this episode.
I know.
Just Wilhelm screams from wall to wall this entire episode. Yeah, but Indy runs up to the, I guess, I don't know, what is that? The bridge? I guess that's the bridge.
Yeah.
It seems kind of tiny, but it's the bridge, and Indy runs up there, and, he says shit. Indy says shit.
Oh.
This is
Oh,
a
yeah.
PG
No,
movie.
more specifically, he says, holy
Yeah.
which is exactly what's going on right now in the cargo hold.
Right. But no one's better than Katanga. We said this a few minutes ago. Katanga is the king of this movie.
Yeah.
And you know why Katanga's awesome? Here's why Katanga's awesome. Everybody else, Sala's Indy's friend. Of course, he's going to help Indy. He's going to do anything he can for him. Marcus is Indy's friend. He loves him. He cares about him. He's worried about him. Katanga doesn't know Indy at all. And he might not even know Sala that well. We don't know. That's a little unclear. But he knows that Indy's a good guy. And because Katanga is awesome, he's going to do whatever he can to protect this other decent human being that he gets that he's a good guy. And he's going to do whatever he can to take care of him. And he's awesome.
It's like a mitzvah.
He is. Is it a mitzvah?
He's a mensch.
Now I got to look up mitzvah. Oh, he's a mensch.
Yeah.
He is a mensch.
Yeah.
He is a mensch.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like him.
A little behind the scenes thing that the U-boat that comes up was actually they borrowed the U-boat from the film Das Boot, if you ever saw that.
Oh, yeah.
And that was and they actually were not able to film some scenes for that movie because someone had given away their boat.
Oh no!
Oh my
for
god.
Raiders.
They were like, where's the boat? Oh, it's on another set today.
Das Boot came out pretty good.
Well, I wonder if the holy was ad-libbed. I think it might be the only time Indy swears.
You know what? I looked up this part of the screenplay because I couldn't, I wasn't quite clear what Katanga was saying. And so, and it actually does say holy shit. Indy says holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Katanga, Katanga says, he speaks really fast. But he says something about sending Indy down to the cargo hold. Go, 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 my friend, go.
He's like, go down with the the ark just trying to burn through its wood. That's safe.
Yeah.
He says
say hi to the
we have
rats.
some most important friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
he doesn't
one?
lose
And
his
this,
cool.
yeah, this might be another minute, but you wonder how did the sub track down the Bantu wind? I mean,
Yeah,
how did
that's a
they
totally
know? Or
good question.
have they just been stopping everybody? Or
Maybe.
I don't know.
They seem to know that they're in the right place when they board the. Well, yeah, that's gonna be for another minute.
or
They were following from the beginning.
does
Maybe.
the Ark want to be found because it's going to open a can of whip ass?
oh, maybe.
Whoop
Oh,
ass
yeah,
on
that would
the
be
yeah.
fun.
It's kind of like once this was started.
Yeah. Don't stick me in
Yeah.
a museum just yet.
Yeah.
I got work to do.
Don't stick me in a museum just yet. not ready to go to Sacramento State.
Well, gosh, anything else?
I don't have anything.
They did it.
Yeah, they probably
Did it?
Why am I resisting that? And it's I've been it's not just
Because you're worried
Skull.
about Marion. You're worried about Marion.
I am, but like you say, she seems footloose and fancy free. She seems like she's
She
fine.
likes trouble. She's his new damn partner.
Yeah. I guess, I mean, there's part of me that just wants her to be, continually kicking him in the nuts for what he did. And like,
Doesn't mean you can't sleep with him and still kick him in the nuts.
I guess so. That's fair.
I feel like there's a almost double standard happening here, where as soon as a woman gives it up to a man, all of a sudden she's weaker and in need of him, when it is in fact quite different most of the time. Sometimes you just give it to him to shut him up.
I'm learning so much this week.
I only
No, but
worry
you know,
about
I
it
mean-
because she was hurt when she was young, and she's lived with that for 10 years. And this is like, like maybe a week
No,
after she's been reconnected with him.
He's sweet. We see a different side of him. He falls asleep. He's vulnerable, and he's actually a sweet guy. And that's what that moment is. It's a tender, intimate moment.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to, for whatever reason, maybe you just don't want to have that, like, you just want to keep that moment as a nice, sweet minute. Because the rest of the movie's got, all sorts of chaos everywhere. And, you just want to have 2 seconds where they have a nice moment and it's intimate.
Yeah.
And she's either not fooling somebody like Belloc, or she's not smacking him and punching him for hosing her.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I just had a brilliant idea, a brilliant thought. To them, from Indy and Marion's point of view, the movie's probably over now. Like, they probably already had the climax of the movie, and they got the arc and they've won. And everything's, like, safe and fine now. So maybe that is why he is sort of... He can relax now. He doesn't have to, like, ditch her to get the arc. He can just... I'm here with Marion Ravenwood. I can get to pause and look around and, it's good to be here with her.
He can take a nap.
Yeah. It's his time to be a nice guy. Oh, except he can't, because the Nazis just showed up. Oh, well. Such is life. Well, I hate to leave these guys here like this, but we kind of have to now.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope they'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think they will be.
I think
I
so,
mean,
too.
it's Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's true. He's the hero.
And he's with Marion, the other hero.
Yeah. God, I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Well, listen, Crystal Beth. Thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome.
Of course. I had so much fun.
Yeah, so did we.
This was great. I love you guys.
Aw, cut it out.
This is just too much fun. Stop it.
This
I told myself I wasn't gonna do this.
this isn't too bad. Here.
Before we let you go, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me at Twitter at the Crystal Beth. And if you want to listen to my video game comedy podcast, it's called Unlimited Lives. And we record live every Thursday at 5:15 Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/Unlimited Lives Radio. And you can chat with us, and we talk about video games and fun stuff. And if you have a PlayStation, my PlayStation network name is Ms. Sparkle Diamond, MS Sparkle Diamond.
I feel like an old man when you say that. I feel like there's no way I could possibly engage on that level in that arena.
It's so much fun.
I like to play the not multiplayer versions of games because I'm intimidated and frightened. I play games to be by myself.
Well, that's usually what I do too, except that sometimes people will watch me do that.
Okay.
It's great.
There's a fine line.
Yeah.
Pete, where can people get in touch with us when we're trying to be alone and by ourselves? Bug us with all this Indiana Jones business.
Check us out on Facebook. We've got a special page, Indiana Jones Minute and the Listener's Crusade, or find us at indianajonesminute.com.
And please, all of you, come back next week where we find out what these filthy, sinning lovebirds are going to do.
What commandment is next on the block?
Right. Breaking commandments and taking names. Indiana Jones. But yeah, come back next week for minute, 96? Why do I always sound surprised that we're actually progressing through this movie? Minute 96 next week of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Wow,
The
wow,
whole-
wow, 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 wow.
You know what? The whole movie is.
I don't think your voice is going to be in this episode.
You're gonna
It's
have
be-
to use that foghorn for Jones.